advice to Ontario Premier Doug Ford because he's dealing with this tariff thing really stupidly. Doug Ford is saying that he wants to add taxes on the electricity that he sells to America. Even though America is saying we don't want Canadian products anymore, and to make sure that that doesn't happen, we are going to impose a tariff on all Canadian goods. Well, let me give you a piece of advice, Doug Ford. And I know you're not going to listen to me. You think you're smarter than me. You didn't listen. I supported you in 2018. You didn't listen to me about the coronavirus. I think maybe someone has something on you. But let me give you a piece of advice. If someone doesn't want your product, the response that you need to take is to make sure that your product is more available, not less available. If someone doesn't want your product, the answer isn't to make your product more expensive. If someone comes into my store and says, Michael, I hate you, I hate your products, and I'll never buy anything from your store again, I'm not going to respond to them by making my products more expensive. What I need to do is make my competitors' products more undesirable. So Doug Ford shouldn't make electricity more expensive to the Americans. What he should do is put a tax on American goods that are coming into Canada or to Ontario. So if I was Doug Ford, if I was the Premier of Ontario, what I would be doing, instead of making my products more expensive by putting a tax on my electricity, which is being sold to America. And by the way, Americans don't need Ontario electricity. I'm sure Americans are quite capable of building their own electricity. Thank you very much. So my response would, in fact, I think it's I don't understand why Americans are buying Ontario electricity. I mean, I approve of it because I'm an Ontarian. I like that, but it's just mind-boggling. But instead of making my electricity more expensive and encouraging Americans to build their own, to get electricity from their own products, what I would do is make my electricity less expensive. And I would also put an excise tax on all products coming from America. That's what I would do. And what I would also do is I would create a fund where 5 cents out of every dollar that I get in taxes goes into a fund. And anytime an American company is taxed or tariffed by Trump because that company bought Canadian goods, what I would do is I would take that money from that fund and repay that company. So then the tariffs are useless. That's how you respond to Donald Trump and his tariffs. It's not by making Canadian goods even more expensive. How stupid is that? Doug Ford, I don't know. Is there someone out there who can give this video to Doug Ford? Because it's stupid. Like the fact that it's okay, let's look at it this way. America gets a lot of electricity from Ontario, right? They don't need to do that. They've been doing that because America's always had dumb leaders. Donald Trump is saying we don't want Canadian goods anymore. And he's going to put a tariff on them. Doug Ford says, gosh darn it, you know what a good thing to do would be? Is to make the one product that America is buying from Ontario, let's make that even more expensive and encourage the Americans to buy their own to make their own electricity. How stupid is that? What you need to do, Doug Ford, is to put an excise tax on every single good coming from America that you can't buy somewhere else, and that you can't make yourself, grow yourself, or extract yourself. I actually support tariffs myself. You know, Canada was built off of tariffs. Sir John A. Macdonald and the national policy. If it wasn't for Sir John A. Macdonald, Canada's first prime minister, and his national policy, Canada would not exist. When the Liberals were advocating for forget all our products, forget all our people, let's have free trade with the Americans. When the Liberals were advocating for that, Laurier and Russell and Brown and all those liberals there, they were advocating for free trade with them. I think if it wasn't for Sir John A. Macdonald and the national policy, which was tariffs, Canada would be part of America today. But it's not. It's because of tariffs. I think my personal belief is that countries should never buy products from other countries if they can already make it themselves, grow it themselves, or extract it themselves. If you have oil in your country and it's oil in abundance, you should not take one drop of oil from any other country. If you can make steel, and every country should know how to make steel. I mean, it's not hard. I mean, every country knows how to make steel. If you know how to make steel, you should never buy one piece of steel from any other country. If your country has wheat, you should never buy one grain of wheat from any other country. I don't think Canada should be buying John Deere products from any other country because we can make John Deere products. Canada should not be taking oil from any other country because Canada has oil, gas, coal, all those things can be made in Canada. And we should Canada should put a huge tariff on all those products. And if those other countries put a tariff, then we have a fund where we take 5 cents out of every dollar we take in taxes, put it in a fund, and we say, hey, Donald Trump, with your orange self, if you charge your companies a tariff because they bought products from our country, we are going to take money from that fund and give it to that company and repay them back, and we will make your tariff useless. And by the way, Trump won't be able to react to that because there's only so much that Trump can do unilaterally. You know, that idea that I came up with about the fund, Trump can only do that himself with the Congress. And I think, I like Donald Trump. I voted for Donald Trump because I'm a dual citizen. But at the rate Trump is going, I feel, first of all, I think Trump is not paying enough attention to domestic issues in the United States. I think he's focused too much on international things. And at the rate he's going to lose the midterms. And if Democrats take control of the House and the Senate, they're not going to work with him on anything. They hate him so much. If Donald Trump found a cure for cancer, they would love cancer. So that's what I'm saying. So that's how I see this whole thing. It's not hard. Tariff things that we have, take things that we don't have. That's how trade is supposed to work. That's how trade is supposed to work. And don't make your own products more expensive. You see what I'm saying? If the Americans are saying that they don't want Canadian products, and Doug Ford responds by saying, I'm about to make the only product that Americans are buying from Canada even more expensive by imposing a tax on it,